Halloween.
And we're the
Cousins Weird.
And we're here doing a Terrible Trends episode. This is Terrible Trend number 12.
Yes.
12 of these are so much fun.
Mm-hmm. They are fun.
And we have a doozy for you today.
Oh, I don't even know what it is, and I'm afraid because Margaret likes to horrify me and traumatize me.
It's pretty
every time.
horrific. It's like, yeah, it's unbelievable what people did. And this isn't even in that far back of history. It's within
good Lord.
the last century. So. Okay. Picture it.
Okay,
The newspaper in 1930s advertisement.
Oh, good Lord.
This stated, "Do you wish to continue as a sexual flat tire?"
What?
Yes. The solution to male impotence was to cut open a man's sack.
What?
And implant slivers of goat testicles. And then sew it back up.
Why do you traumatize me like this?
Yes. This is his solution. Yes. And this was Dr. John Romulus Brinkley. But he wasn't the originator of this forward-thinking medical concept.
Forward thinking.
Yes. He got the idea. This from Sergei Voronov, and he was born in 1866 in Russia and moved to France when he was about 18. He worked for a physician there who was kind of experimenting with organ transplants.
Oh, good Lord.
And it was mostly organs between animals.
Right.
But, trying to see what would happen if you shoved this animal's ovary and stuck it in another animal.
Okay.
Usually nothing and the animal died. But, the thought was there. I mean, honestly, these men are probably the people who started what we do now as organ transplant.
True.
But what they did back then was awful and ineffective.
I guess I had to start somewhere.
It's terrible. Okay, so he ended up he started his work in Paris, and then he ended up moving to Egypt in the early 20th century. He thought that aging could be reversed by increasing hormone production and rejuvenating aging glands within the body.
Oh, God.
Yes. So at the age of 30, and of course the glands that this man thought of were his own visible glands.
His nards.
Yes.
This man's got nards.
Yes. At the age of 33, he injected himself with a serum that he made of pulverized dog and guinea pig testicles.
Oh, my God!
It came from the castration of these animals. He, collected them.
I'm rocking.
And then mixed them up into a serum and injected himself with a serum.
Oh, my God, I'm uncomfortable.
You should.
This is awful.
It's pretty terrible. Despite this not working on himself, he still thought that it was a valid concept and it would definitely work. So he moved to Egypt in 1896 and he studied the eunuchs there. And he noticed that these eunuchs, if you don't know what a eunuch is, Google it. It's basically a man who has removed his sex organs. So he has no.
It's like what's his face in Game of Thrones?
Yes, exactly.
What's his name? Varys. Yeah.
Yes. And he noticed that these eunuchs were obese. They had no body hair, broad pelvises. They had memory problems, and they had a lowered intelligence. And he figured it was because they don't have this magic elixir that comes from your testicles in their bodies. And he thought it was magic. There's something about testicles was magic, and they didn't have this magic juice.
Every man thinks that their testicles are magic.
They're full of magic juice.
That's what they tell us anyway.
Yes. So, because they didn't have this is why they were in a terrible state of health. So, he's like, this he thought was due to a lack of glandular excretions, because they didn't have testes. Right?
Mm-hmm.
He spent 14 years researching his thoughts in this Egyptian hospital.
Okay.
And he finally returned to France in 1910 with these glorious ideas that he had about glands. And then he started to experiment with animals, with their like organs, tissues, bones, and transplanting them into different species of animals. So like taking this thing out of a dog and putting it into a horse or a cow or something to see what would happen. And nothing never did anything
good is going to happen, especially the difference in size alone.
I know. And then he eventually ended up taking testicular tissue from a younger horse and implanting it into older horses and telling them it'll make the older horse more vigorous and live longer because it has this young piece of a nard in it.
Okay. If you want to convince yourself that that's what works, sir, go right ahead.
This was when he got the notion to implant tissues from what they called simians, which were the greater simians like apes, into humans, because apes and humans are very similar. It's not like he could go out and kill a little boy and steal
that would be rude.
Put him in an old man. It's like he didn't want to get in trouble for doing that. So he was like, I'll just find these smarter monkeys and we'll take their testicles because they don't need them. Right?
Right. No. Why would they need him?
So in 1915, he claimed to have implanted a thyroid from a chimpanzee into a young French, and I'm using this in quotations, this is what he said, idiot, in quotation marks. And that over the next year, his mental acuity returned to normal. Oh. According to himself.
The magic. So magic of the thyroid. Magic of a thyroid, not even just your testes.
I don't even think he took the boy's thyroid out. He probably just took this thyroid and shoved it in his kid's body somewhere.
And sewed it back up.
It sewed it in and then sewed him back up.
So that makes perfect sense.
Yes. Yeah. And he has before and after pictures, because how can you tell how smart a person is by a picture? Right? And I will post them. The before picture of this poor young boy and the after picture, because...
Does he have glasses on in the second picture?
No. He just looks a year older.
Oh, okay.
You know,
I thought maybe he was like, before picture.
Yeah, but
after picture.
Some of he has other pictures of his patients, and we'll talk about that
too. No, I don't want to see
them. It's funny.
Oh, God, they're in my email, aren't they?
They are. Oh. They're only face pictures. They're not like...
Oh, thank God.
They're not...
Below the waist?
No.
Okay. No privy areas?
No privy areas.
My favorite thing to say.
He referred to these these, when he would take, like, the ball piece and put it into the other one, he referred to those as xenografts. From these gland piece things that he had. Xenografts.
Oh, Xeno, not Xeno.
A xenograph, yes. He wrote, eventually in 1920, he wrote a book called Life, a study of the means of restoring vital energy and prolonging life. Okay. Yes. What a nice, long, short title, huh? And in July of 1920, he grafted a small piece of a young monkey testicle onto the scrotum of a human man.
Oh, good.
Yes. He takes before and after pictures of the man standing there. And then after the procedure...
So it's just a picture of a guy.
From the 20s. And the only difference is he shaved his goatee. One of the guys. I found two pictures of before and after pictures. And one of them, he's like... And that's what he's like... And then... One of them, the guy basically just shaved off his goatee and made him look younger. Like, well, he's vital now.
Look how vital he is. He's getting grow facial hair.
Testicle sewn onto his scrotum. Because that's good for you.
It's horrible.
It's horrible. What he claimed this would do, this xenographs that he was doing, they would return youthful energy, cure senility. Like if you were senile and you did this, you would automatically end up not being senile. You could also cure schizophrenia by doing this. Well, radically prolong your life.
Magic ball juice will do that.
Yes, and any romantic improvements were just a side effect. Even though the majority of people who had this done did it because they were impotent.
Well, let's talk about
But Viagra. He didn't want to push that part. He's like, oh, that's just a side effect that you have more virility in that area. That's just a side effect, but it does all those other things. That's why you take it, you know.
Yeah, you wouldn't do it just so you're...
But this procedure was so popular that he is said to have performed it between 500 and 1,000 men. Over a decade, he did it somewhere between 500 and 1,000 men. He says 1,000, but most people say it's probably more like 500. So we'll go somewhere in between. Right. He did, though. I mean, he charged $5,000.
In the 20s?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
For once.
What would that be, like 20,000 now?
Something like that.
I don't even know.
Your insurance is not going to cover that.
Was there insurance back then?
I don't even know.
I don't know.
And he even did graft a piece of a monkey ovary onto the famous opera singer's ovary.
How did that work out for her?
I don't.
Could she sing better?
Could she have monkey babies?
Ew.
I don't know.
Yeah, wait. Yeah. Are you producing monkey eggs then?
Yes.
I don't know.
I don't know. She probably died of sepsis. In 1925, he bought a castle in Grimaldi, Italy, and he hired a former circus trainer to work it because he was using so many monkey parts that he needed to like grow his own monkeys. So he bought this castle and he instilled like a monkey farm on this castle grounds, and he hired a circus trainer to take care of the monkeys. So he had a ready supply of his glands.
So when he chopped off the monkey's bits, did the monkey die? Or did he, like,
depend on if he used other organ parts. I mean, this guy was doing some pretty serious experimenting. Using everything. Yeah, and they would take bits of the monkey, like, thyroid and put it in another animal. He was doing all kinds of weird shit.
This is weird.
He actually built a small hospital in the castle, too, so he could just have people come there to get their grafts done.
I mean...
Their gland grafts.
I get, like, you know... Back in the day, they didn't have technology, and they had to utilize animals to do things. Okay.
This is taking it to another level.
And, like, it just seems like it's not... I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
It's not.
It makes me feel very uncomfortable.
It's really not. He claimed that a human could live for as long as his gland was healthy. And he also stated that a single procedure would allow the person to live to 140 years old.
So, put in a little bit of a
monkey
testicle into
But he
yours.
said eventually, like, people would feel great for about 5 years, and then they start to feel like crap again. And he's like, well, it's just because it's decayed. It's used up. You need another graft.
Oh, he's smart.
Yeah.
Right? Return customers.
Yeah.
Keeps them in business.
But, I mean, they said that mostly what this was placebo effect. Like, this did nothing for them.
No, obviously.
And he was smart enough to know that he couldn't put a whole baboon testicle into a man because it would be gigantic and it would decay and cause sepsis. You know what I mean? But a small piece is just going to get absorbed into the body.
Yeah.
You know?
I bet there were some people, though, that got sepsis.
Probably did. He stopped doing these procedures in the 1930s, and a lot of it was people started to realize that it wasn't doing anything.
They're like, wait a minute.
I don't think, and a lot of people were like, this guy's full of crap. There's no way that this is going to do anything.
Aging.
And I mean, they actually discovered testosterone in 1935 is when they discovered that hormone. So
before he was doing this before they even knew testosterone.
Right. Came from the testicles. I mean, he wasn't far off in the fact that this gland produces this magical substance that makes you have strong muscles and grow body hair.
Right.
I mean, he's not wrong in that respect.
True.
But his answer to how to fix it if you don't have it is very far off. Like, no. Also, he died in 1951. So obviously, these procedures did not make you live forever. Like he said
probably didn't do it to himself. Did he do it to himself?
I'm sure that he did. He injected himself with the testicle serum that he made.
That's